Welcome back to another episode of the GC Release Radar. I am Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula, and today we're going to go through some more of the week's latest releases just for you to have a look at. We will start with the only VR title on this list. It is called High Noon VR. From the description, you're the new sheriff in town, and basically you just kill everyone because they obviously don't seem to take much of a liking to you. This is basically just a shooting range, pretty much. However, the whole shooting range thing in VR is something that I find very appealing, and as somebody who will probably be getting a VR headset in the next few weeks, I find the idea of a whole Western high noon shoot 'em up very, very entertaining. And it doesn't cost that much. It's £7.19 in the Steam store at the moment. Got, mostly decent reviews at the moment. Not that it's got many reviews, but looks very much worth a go if you have a VR headset and you like little shmup type things. The next game we're going to talk about today is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, a game that's been out for quite a long time on mobile, but has just come out free to play on Steam. Now, this is a game you will only play if you have a sort of tolerance for loot box style microtransactions, because you are actually paying for packs of cards. And this is the only instance where the ESRB's comparison of loot box to trading cards actually is true, really, when you think about it. Except for the fact that you can't trade the cards on here, to the best of my knowledge at least. But that aside, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh game on PC, which is, I think it's the first one I've certainly seen. But, I mean, admittedly, there are better Yu-Gi-Oh games. There's Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force 5 for the PSP, the best Yu-Gi-Oh game you can go and buy. But if you want what is basically the experience of Yu-Gi-Oh!, where you'll just get some cards and you can spend some in-game money on some packs, or you can actually use your real money to buy packs, something that I'm all too familiar with, then Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links might be for you. Although I will still say, if you have a PSP, Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force 5 is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! game you can go out and buy. Now for the biggest game on my list, mostly because I wanted to talk about it and I really want it, Injustice 2. Now, this game, according to all outlets, basically fixes any sort of issue you might have had with Injustice 1, like slightly, I don't know, it's a good fighting engine certainly, but it could have been a little bit better. They've tweaked that and refined it, made it a lot nicer, and oh, yes. Just everything about Injustice 2 is just making me like, I need this in my life. Except for one thing. I know this is a space for me to be positive about games, but I'm not going to be positive entirely about every game. And my issue with Injustice 2 is the amount of downloadable fighters that you have to actually pay money for. You can either buy most of the fighters at £5 each, or you can buy half of them for £15.99, or another half of £15.99, or all of them, and it probably includes some locked ones, for £32.99. And that's a lot of money. Or you could buy the Ultimate Edition of Injustice 2 for £69.99. And the base game is £39.99. So get your flowcharts out for that one. Other than that, I've been told that this is a superb addition to the whole Injustice series. There's only been 2 games in it, but you know what I mean. And hopefully the story matches up to that of the first one. I really enjoyed the story mode of the first game. It was very good. And I do want to play this someday, but maybe not at full price. I might wait for a sale and wait for the Ultimate Edition to come down. But other than that, yeah, great fighting game. And finally, something that I didn't think would happen, a Harvest Moon game has been released on PC. You might think I'm bullshitting you, but no, it is actually a genuine Harvest Moon game that has been released on the PC, and I think it's also available on PS4 and maybe Switch. But I didn't think I'd ever see this coming. It's a bit weird though, because I don't feel like I want it as much as I... Like, this feels like something I should want. However, at the same time, I kind of don't, because Stardew Valley exists. And that's basically like Harvest Moon, but the best thing. Still, this game costs $21.41 or $23.79 after its promotional period ends. And if you actually, like, if you care about the Harvest Moon series to the point of you wouldn't buy Stardew Valley because it's not technically a Harvest Moon game, you wanted one on PC though, this is finally for you. And I'm still very cautious about this, but that's mostly because Stardew Valley is a thing, and it's probably better than this. Since we've got a little bit more time though, I will talk about one more little free game that you can get on Steam. It's called CS2D. It's obviously meant to say Counter-Strike 2D, and that's basically what it is. The game is a top-down version of Counter-Strike. It's not published by Valve, of course, but it is basically Counter-Strike in all but name. It's got a lot of the same game modes, but some new game modes as well. But it's done from a top-down perspective. They've done some very good things with, like, the lighting engine at night means you can't see people who aren't within your line of sight. So if they're in a shadow, you won't be able to see them on the screen because they're in a shadow, which is a very good thing. And, you know, it's a free-to-play little sort of top-down shooter. And, you know, there's no microtransactions in it that I'm aware of, so... Great. That's great. Well, why not? And that brings us to the end of this week's Release Radar. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like or a subscribe or a share, whatever you fancy. Our social links are down in the description, along with a link to our little Discord, where you can join in some lovely public chat. I can be found on Twitter at @SnowyDuffield. Stay tuned to GameCast for more news, reviews, let's plays, loads of fun little things, and I will see you soon for news and Release Radar based things.